My own inspiration came mostly from 90s movies and animated series. Very inspired by Disney in general, Don Bluth movies, a lot of different styles that made my own. I feel like they really came through in Jotun in the sense that the backgrounds are very painted and everything that is animated is very flat. And we really tried to go into the celluloid aspect. In every Disney animated movie, you could see the book that was about to move in the giant bookcase, and you're usually able to interact with it.
It seems that being in Montreal, we're like somewhere between Europe and the United States, but we also have in our youth a lot of Japanese stuff. The best 2D animation being made by companies like Vanillaware in Japan and Capcom. That was a big influence, and now they do some really refined cycles, just how to make an idol look really cool, because it's going to be looked at again and again and again, even though it's just a character that can breathe.
We tried to go with a more bubbly style, more visually appealing. We didn't really want to make a really grimdark game. We just wanted a fun game to play, to go hand in hand with what we thought would balance out the darkness of the story.
We wanted to make something that is more common in film and television in terms of visual style and animation than what we see in video games. So in the best of case, we want to give the feeling that you're playing interactive cartoon.
The first design for the Jotun that had to be made was the winter one. It was actually the hardest to design because it was the first. There was nothing, no backgrounds to influence the art style. We had Thora, which was final, but then you want the giants to be vastly different.
The goal is to make every Jotun really special, but the Jotuns in the mythology are basically giant humans, but still we wanted to go as far as we could. Sometimes they look maybe a bit more like beasts. That's where we stretch the mythology a bit, but it's really to make all of them feel very different. And from me on the animation side, it's the same thing. It's to give them a different attitude, different personalities.
The Storm Jotun, we knew we wanted the battleground to be in the sky. It gave us a lot of options and at the same time none, because we needed her to feel very light, but also very fearsome. So it was all about like making her as angular as we could, and since she was electricity based, it was a lot easier to just work with harsh angles and just integrate the clouds into her body.
And for the animation, it was really cool to play with offsetting what the upper body and the lower body was doing, while still feeling that both of them were linked somehow. The dwarves were probably the most fun characters to animate because they were so cartoonish and kind of simple in their design. Just a big mass of fun that I could stretch and squash as much as I want. They don't have an easy role in the game. They kind of feel weak, and we just wanted them to feel a bit pathetic.
They're really overdramatic.
At the start, they were supposed to disappear after a little while, like in most video games.
In the alpha, a lot of people actually commented on the fact that the dwarves stayed there, and they enjoyed seeing the massacre they caused.
Yeah, I wish that we can make a game with just the dwarves in order to redeem them, and they don't deserve this. Our style of animation is somewhere between cutout flash style animation and more traditional animation. We use some digital trickery to make the drawing moves a bit by themselves. I always start with a complete rough animation where I flesh out the basic movement, and then when I do the final art, I decide where I need to redraw some stuff, where I can let the computer do the interpolation for me. I do save time, but I also have the flexibility of redrawing whatever I need, which is an advantage over 3D also. 3D rigs, as good as they have become, there's always a lot of constraints. We went for something that we feel is livelier and more unique, and that just feels natural to us also.